All right, welcome, future physicians. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's Grand Round Style Explainer. Today, we're diving into a frontier that is literally going to define the entire course of your medical careers, AI in healthcare. We're going to be moving from a very specific clinical case all the way to the broader regulatory frameworks that govern our practice. So I want you to bring your clinical curiosity to the table because the paradigms of patient care are shifting rapidly, and understanding the architecture of these new tools, well, it's just as critical as understanding human anatomy.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First up, the AI diagnostic revolution, followed by a clinical case on primary cancer. Then we'll look at the static regulatory catch, the harm of locked algorithms, data bias in clinical AI, and finish up with the future of adaptive medicine. Basically, we are going to zoom in on a microclinical scenario and then zoom way out to the macro-systemic challenges we face as a medical community. Section 1. The AI diagnostic revolution, shifting paradigms in patient care. Before we can utilize these tools, we really have to shift our perception of what AI actually is. Look, we've all seen the movies. AI has often been depicted as, villain robots ready to take over the world. But AI can actually save lives. As future doctors, you are not going to be competing with some sentient robot. Instead, you'll be wielding a ridiculously powerful instrument that helps personalize care, makes your hospitals way more efficient, and provides you with highly accurate decision-making support.
So, what exactly is clinical AI? It's basically educating a computer model using massively complex data sets so it can learn, make decisions, and predict outcomes from new data based on thousands of past patient experiences. Think about it. No two of you in this room are exactly alike, right? Yet this technology gives us a model that knows, based on the clinical experience of thousands of other patients, whether a specific treatment will actually work for the individual sitting right in front of you.
Section 2. Clinical case, primary cancer, diagnosing the unknown. To see how this works in the real world, let's look at a clinical vignette. I want to introduce you to a patient named Peter. So, Peter has cancer. He's been through comprehensive clinical assessments, imaging, the whole 9 yards. And cancer diagnoses can be immensely complicated, as you all know. Doctors have to make incredibly tough calls, differentiating primary versus secondary cancer, but an AI model can streamline this whole shebang. We feed the model Peter's multimodal data, his blood tests, the X-ray images of suspected lesions, genetic information from a tissue biopsy. The trained AI rapidly digests all of this disparate, complex info to give us highly accurate predictions. Before AI intervention, Peter faced a really grim prognosis. His chance of surviving another 5 years was, it was less than 10%. Why? Because not even the absolute best doctors in town could locate his cancer's primary site. And in oncology, if you don't know the primary site, you literally cannot prescribe a targeted treatment. He was completely out of conventional options. But here is where the paradigm shifts. A tool developed in Brisbane uses AI and genetic information to accurately identify the primary cancer site, empowering doctors to prescribe targeted treatments. For Peter, this technology successfully pinpointed the exact origin of his disease, meaning his doctors could give him a treatment tailored to his specific biological makeup. This isn't just theory, guys. This is technology currently working to save lives today. Section 3. The static regulatory catch. Old rules for new tools. So the crucial point is, while the clinical promise is immense, we have a massive systemic hurdle. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast in these two paradigms. On one hand, we have traditional static software. Same input equals same output. It's regulated just like a physical surgical implant. But on the other hand, we have adaptive AI medical devices. AI has an intrinsic ability to learn, evolve, and actually become more intelligent over time. Our current rules demand static reproducibility, but AI is inherently dynamic. It's a huge mismatch. Section 4. Harm of locked algorithms, stunting machine learning. Let's look at how these outdated rules are unintentionally causing real harm. Let's walk through this regulatory bottleneck step by step. Because our authorities rely on software being static to prove it's safe, their solution has been super restrictive. Step 1, developers train the model. Step 2, regulators actually require developers to lock the learning potential of the algorithm. And finally, step 3, only then can it be implemented into routine clinical practice. Think about what that actually means. Locked algorithms cannot learn from new environments or up-to-date data, limiting their potential and risking wrong diagnoses. locking it completely defeats the whole point of artificial intelligence. It's absolutely crucial to understand that applying an outdated, locked model to constantly evolving population health trends can actively harm your patients. Section 5. Data bias in clinical AI. The diversity problem. Because at the end of the day, a medical tool is only as good as the population it's built to serve. I want you to think critically about this for a second. If a mobile skin cancer AI is trained on a predominantly Caucasian population, how well will it diagnose an Asian or African American patient? Seriously, how accurate can it be? Developers have a massive responsibility to ensure their models are trained on diverse data sets that represent the entire human population.
Biologically speaking, skin cancer disproportionately affects Caucasians genetically, meaning the available training datasets are naturally skewed. Because of this, regulators urgently need to mandate an AI clinical fallback feature. For minority populations, the AI must be legally capable of saying, "I don't know, this is my best guess based on a skewed training population." As future doctors, you have to know the blind spots of your tools. Unfortunately, this mandated transparency just doesn't fully exist yet. Section 6. Future of Adaptive Medicine. Building Better Regulatory Frameworks. It's not all doom and gloom. There is a very bright horizon ahead of us. And this brilliantly illustrates the solutions regulators and developers are proposing to fix this. First, transparent reporting, where developers disclose exactly how models learn and evolve over time. Second, real-time monitoring to ensure the software adapts accurately for better predictions. And third, mandating diverse datasets to develop compliant, robust tools that serve the whole population. If we get this right, we can safely unlock AI's potential and completely transform personalized medicine. Which brings me to my final question for all of you. As future physicians, how will you integrate these evolving adaptive AI tools into your daily practice to transform the delivery of personalized healthcare? You guys are the generation at the absolute forefront of translating this tech into standard care. The tools are evolving, the regulations are catching up. The question is, how will you use them? Keep that question in mind as you head into your rounds today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.